Hi everyone, and welcome to another live stream. It's been quite a while. I think it's because my last live stream was right at the start of April, so it feels like it's been absolutely ages. So it's nice to be back live with you all. Hopefully you're going to have lots of fun and enjoy this live stream. Today's topic is broadly going to be, can parrots train us? A bit about parrot training in general, responding to a couple of questions people have asked, and then we'll have the usual parrots coming out, maybe some training live, and responding to your questions, any questions you have. Remember, if there's any questions I don't get to in the chat, just repeat them during the Q&A section of the live stream and I'll try and get to them. And it will vary like that, basically. But hopefully you all enjoy the live stream. Hello to everyone who's joined already. Hopefully you will have lots of fun with me. So let's get started. Hopefully you can actually see me. Just put a thumbs up if you can, because again, it's been a little while. Hello, Pink Tiger. Welcome. We love birds too. I think most of the people you'll see in this chat today are big fans of birds. It's a big bird party. They've been quite noisy today, so they're probably going to be noisy during this. Hopefully they will behave themselves, but we'll have to wait and see. So again, welcome to everyone filtering in. So let's start talking about the topic of the day, and then we'll see how things get on and sort of like just go on. Thank you for the thumbs up to everyone. Thank you guys. So this question was submitted by Colleen. I don't know if she's watching or she's going to watch later, but I thought it was a good one to have the topic as a broad theme rather than just talking about training. So can parrots train us? And the quick answer is absolutely. Yes, they can. Do they? Do they actively do it? Yes, they're smart enough to actually want to train us. And it's very easy to fall into that trap and get into a bit of a training mess because of our parrots training us. So let's talk about how they do it. And one of the most common ways our parrots train us is when we give in to them and do what they want. So how do we do this? So I've brought some examples. I've got a couple of examples that we have here personally of mistakes we've made and other people have sort of talked to us about. And the best example I can think of, there's two perfect examples for us, is Chip and Fish going on a curtain rail and us fetching them down. And sometimes we used to treat them for that as well, because they've come down. So we want to reinforce them being down here rather than up there. But then they learned that if they fly up there, they're going to get fetched whenever they want to, and they're going to get a reward. And it was simply when they started chewing up there, I noticed when they started chewing and I fetched them down and rewarded them, they'd go up there and do it more. So it's a very easy trap to fall into. The other one is laziness. Pickles is probably the best example for this. Pickles, when she wants to go somewhere, it's like she just starts nodding in that direction. And that's a Konya thing. They all do that when they want to go somewhere. However, Pickles has learned it to an art, and she knows that I'll give in because she's my cute little baby. So she's trained me to take her where she wants to go when she just does that gesture. So I've had to sort of step back a little bit and encourage her to use her wings a lot more and behave herself and just do it in general. So it's an easy trap to fall into. Let me just look at my other examples here as well. Generally, going places they shouldn't. Parrots, Colleen, who submitted this question originally, talked about her parrots going up on curtain rails as well, or going to corners, places out of reach, and then she would reward them naturally for coming back or recalling, and then they'll just do it more and more. Where else have we got? Excuse me. Oh, and just basically asking for rewards. Anything that involves rewards or laziness is the most common ways. So, my favourite. So I almost skipped a really important one, and that is biting going back in a cage. So one of the most common trained behaviours is people who give their parrots times out in the cages. So if a parrot bites a person and they immediately put them back in a cage, all you're teaching the parrot is when they bite, they go back in that cage. This is a very common one, a very common problem. So the parrot will just bite when they want to go back in the cage or go somewhere. Say they get put in a timeout location or whatever, and the biting behaviour is not addressed. They just teach their owner, to put them where they want when they bite them. And it's quite funny to see it. And it's a very common trap a lot of people fall into. I did a new quiz feature on my community where, I asked about biting and I sort of explained why we think our method for dealing with biting is the best. And I did have a question about extreme biting, which I'll talk about later in relation to our crimson bellies, because I know it's not always so cut and dry. Yeah, Alice, Conyers do basically use as taxi services. Chibi's almost the same as well. The way he nibbles my hand, asking for pets, he's keeps on demanding until I give him. It's sometimes a battle of wills, and it can be the same with diet conversion as well. Just before I sort of go into the next part of the topic, it can be a battle of wills, and they can almost train us when we're doing diet conversion or giving them treat foods. So say, for example, you're trying to convert your cockatiel onto a healthier diet. You offer it in the morning. They don't really peck it. They're not really interested because they're not really used to it. And then you see they're not eating, and then you just give in. You start treating them, and then that teaches them when they scream, when they don't want that food, you're just going to give in and give them what they want in the end. Now, I'm not saying deny them food. Eventually, you will have to give them that food if they're not eating it, because diet conversion should be done slowly. But giving it immediately is probably the worst thing you can do, because you're just teaching your bird that screaming, biting, begging gets them exactly what they want. So you need to be like a responsible parent almost. You need to sort of like teach them almost like they are human children, but not quite the same way. Don't anthropomorphize them, but teach them and give them the respect for the intelligence they have, and then you have more success with it. Because diet conversion is another place where you see it a lot. So let's talk about how we address this specifically in training. Then we'll have a little break, and then I'll just answer any questions, address the chat, and sort of like say hi to everyone, etc. So one of the first things that helps when your parrot is teaching you rather than the other way around, and for a lot of training mistakes, is recording sessions, maybe keeping a little training diary, and just taking notes on what's going on. That can help you immediately. Because if you're recording a session, you can see your parrot starting to train you by bobbing or giving you cues, and you're picking up subconsciously as a human. You can start picking up on it. Similar with recording a diary and seeing what's working, what's not. I thought that's quite good. I just like that as general. Just generally, basically encouraging exercise, encouraging your bird to be active through foraging, independence, descents, making sure they're not going to be lazy, making sure they're used to doing lots of things. Because Pickles, when she really wants something, she'll come for it. When we go to that bathroom, which seems to be the Konya, the Konya holy ground, when someone's in that bathroom, they will fly for it. They're more than happy to fly all the way to that bathroom. Similarly, when we're doing recall training treats, it's all about the motivation and also the ability and will. So encourage the exercise, keep making sure they move and enjoying it. If you're the reinforcer, use yourself as a reinforcer. Encourage them to do that. A lot of notes here. Apologize. I keep looking. Normally, I just got it written immediately. Redirection is another great one. So, for example, this is perfect curtain rail. Is quite a good example of this. They go down the curtain rail. Okay. So you just fetch them down. You pop them down as if you would dealing with biting, and then you redirect them on something else, like a spin, a target, or something else. So you're kind of breaking the association between going up and down on that curtain rail and getting a treat, and instead they're like, oh, okay, I'm targeting now. I've been training mode, so I'm getting a treat for that, which is much more valid. So you're breaking that association. It's the same with biting and other things. We find redirection is probably a highly effective technique, not only for fixing the training, but also giving us a break as well, because we don't want to get bitten. It's not pleasant, it's not fun, and it's the easiest way of stopping it and helping it. If you've got training like targeting, the most simple way in place, it's really, really helpful. What else have we got? The most important one and the most common and easy mistake to make, and that is make sure you're only treating for desirable behaviors. Positive reinforcement, the essence of it is adding something to the environment to increase likelihood of what you want to see. So if you're adding that treat into the environment, you want to see what you want to see. You don't want them going back up there, because that's not doing it. So make sure you're reinforcing for what you want and not accidentally reinforcing for what you don't want. On Patreon recently, I did a couple of mini videos talking about common training mistakes with regards to positive and negative reinforcement and positive and negative punishment, because there is a place for it, and it's often misunderstood because punishment in general is no. But in training jargon, it's not that bad. So if you are on Patreon and you haven't seen it yet, do watch those videos. It's well worth it. It's just a quick definition of both. For you guys, I have defined positive and negative reinforcement. I've talked about in previous videos, so don't think you're like missing out there. We just tend to put a bit of extra detail on there. But yeah, make sure you're only reinforcing for what you want. Because if you don't, you're going to not get what you want. You're going to accidentally reinforce that overexcitement, accidentally reinforce flying up there, even accidentally reinforce biting sometimes. I feel I potentially may have done that initially with Charlie. And it's, well, probably not, but I reckon that contributes to everything as well. So let's have a little break now so I can stop looking at my notes, and let's catch up on the chat and say hello to everyone. I hope you found that interesting, guys, because I find it a very fascinating topic. Parrots training us just shows how smart they are. Hi, Parrots on Wheels. Hi, Gina. Hi, Jimmy. Klaus. Laura. Very Grandma already say, and Lester always say hello to you guys. Charlie is very naughty. Singamporia. Moonlight, hello. Welcome. Tiger Ninja, hi. Yeah, Alice, I think I've already mentioned that one. Yes, definitely true. They do, Parrots on Wheels. They train us subtly sometimes. We have to be so on the ball. Hi, Carrie, and thank you very much for the kind comment. Yeah, it's funny how they train us, isn't it? Yes, Alice White. Offering, that's a good point as well. Offering behaviours repeatedly for the hopes of treats. And sometimes that can be useful if they're very keen to train. You can try to turn it into a training session, but generally you want to reinforce what you want. So if they're just offering it and you're not really cueing them to it, sometimes it can start crossing over into dangerous training territory. So it's very important to make sure you don't accidentally do it. It's generally up to you as the owner or trainer to make a judgment on it. Do you want to reinforce that behavior because it's cute and you're seeing it? It's cute they're offering it, or do you want to be just do it sporadically, or do you just want to only reinforce when you ask for it? It's not really something I can tell you not to do. It's your choice, really. They're one of those options. All I can say is if you do it too much and it's not being offered, you'll be constantly offered it, and they may get frustrated with you and maybe nip you if you're not getting if they're not getting treated. So I always prefer to say only when cued or sporadically, rather than all the time when they're offering it when it's not, when you're basically not asking for it. Yeah, Klaus, it's funny. They bring the toys, especially if you train them to fetch. It's quite cute as well. They are quiet right now, Peggy. Right now, they're quiet. Hello, Helen. I was worried that they were going to be noisy, but Charlie, who's right, let me just turn this around so you can see Charlie doing some bonding work there. Hello, Charlie. We'll talk about Charlie a little bit later because there's lots to say about him. He's next to Olive. I was expecting to be noisy, but they're actually calmed down. So hopefully when these guys come out later as well, they'll still be quiet. I've put some treats in the bowls. I've got my little treat ramekin here for some training potentially, or if I want to bring them up to the screen for you guys. Although Scampy's variable. Sometimes he loves being up to this screen. Sometimes he gets scared of it. It depends what's going on, I guess. But yeah, it's quite interesting. No questions so far. You're being very well behaved with the questions. If you do have any questions, do feel free to shoot them. Better in the Q&A section if possible. But if you do have them, maybe other people in the chat can answer them. Sophie's also in the chat as well. And if not, I will address them later, or we can just repeat it. So let's move on to the next section of today's live stream, shall we? Now, again, it's supposed to be a training themed live stream. So let's talk about the next thing. It's training expectations and mistakes. And it's very easy to make mistakes when parrot training. I know I make mistakes, which is why the recording's so helpful. It also helps to have Sophie here as well, so we can sort of like balance each other out, like point out mistakes. If you're on your own recording, helpful. But yeah, it's very easy to make training mistakes. No one's perfect. We don't try to present a perfect image. We know a lot about birds. We're confident dealing with birds. You know, we feel that we have a lot to offer in bird education, but we're not perfect. So we freely admit our mistakes and try to learn from them, because it helps us become better trainers, and it helps other people hopefully become better trainers too. Now, I thought of quite a good quote, which I came up with, probably been said before, but I thought it was very clever. And that is, generally, having expectations with parrot training is the biggest mistake. That is the biggest mistake. We have to be so careful with our expectations and managing them with our parrots. That includes bringing them home for the first time. You know, maybe in another house, Charlie's a great example of this. Maybe in another house, they were perfect. We've met them. They were so cute. They were lovely. But you bring them to a new environment, that changes everything. And the same with training, you know, or bonding and everything. It can change them for better or for worse. You know, they could surprise you in a really positive way. Probably shouldn't use that when I talk about training, in a very good way or a very bad way. You know, they come back and they love you, they love everyone, great. Or they come to your house and they don't want to train and they hate everyone. It's the same with training. When you're training a parrot, you know, you have an expectation of what they should do and what they want. And it's okay to sort of have an idea in your mind of what you want them to do, but you can't expect them to do it the way you expect it. They have their own mind, they're going to do their own thing. So you have to try and just control the factors as much as you can, you know. And I've talked about this in previous lives and videos. Make sure the environment's conducive to training. Make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure that you have the correct reinforcement. Their treat motivation's high because, you know, they're not full. They not just had a dinner. They actually like what you're providing them, and their diet is actually reasonably well managed. So they're not just getting loads of treat foods, for example, just sunflower seeds constantly, which are a demon at the moment. A lot of people seem to hate them, but in moderation, they're great. So it's about setting yourself up for success by getting every factor you can aligned positively. And I'll go back to Charlie again, this example, because he's a perfect one. The factors when I'm training Charlie are working against me in every single way. So I had to think very carefully about how I could possibly put them in my favor. And I'll talk a little bit about one because it's quite interesting with the bonding. It's quite cute later. But the one factor I have, or two factors I control, is whether he's in the cage or not. and the target stick I use, also, sorry, the treats and the other stuff I talked about. So I found that with Charlie, he's responsive with me calmly to targeting when he's in the cage, when I'm using his favorite target stick, and when I am using walnut pieces. Those factors make training with Charlie conducive to success and make him calm and want to engage with me. And because I'm controlling those factors, rather than getting him out, knowing it's not going to work, the training is working well in that regard. Which leads me on to my next point. Sometimes you need to take a couple of steps back to be successful in training. I want Charlie out. I want Charlie to be training with me. I want it to be happy, blah, 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 blah. But it's not happening. It can't happen at the moment. I'll talk about that later. So I take it to where I can be successful, and that is the most effective technique. Take it to where you can be successful with your training and go from there. Even if you have to go right back to basics bonding because it's so important, you need to have the success. And it's for us as well as the humans, because if we're not successful repeatedly, it grates on our confidence, it grates on our willingness to train, it sets us back and we don't want to engage in it. And it's a human reaction. It's completely natural and normal. And I don't think anyone should be ashamed of feeling that way. It's trying to come back to it and that's the bit when you disengage and you ignore it. That's the problem. Not that you have the problems in the first place. We wouldn't shame anyone for that because we think it's wrong. I've been there recently, where I've had my confidence knocked repeatedly, thinking I'm an amazing trainer, and then suddenly I've got a problem that's very difficult to fix. So yeah, the point of that ramble was go back to your basics, control the factors you can, and work from there to improve your confidence and make sure your birds set up for success in the best way. Because it can take absolute ages with some parrots because they're all individuals. They all have different paths. Even a parrot that may have been completely fine in a previous home, which we had in the previous consult as well recently, may be an absolute monster to you in your new home. So you need to work on it. So before I go on to the next bit, I'm going to talk about my training bonding pillar again, because I think it's really important. Let's catch up on the chat and see what people are doing. my green cheek conure flies to my shoulder, move around the house to get a lift. Yeah, they love doing that. Where have we? I mean, Ferret Graham, Avi's done very well training your husband to fetch stuff. Scampy does the same for me. He loves to play with his jingle ball, so he loves me to play with him. I throw it to him, he throws it back, and he's almost like a goalie over the well. It's quite cute. I allow him to do that behaviour in training because I enjoy it. So Iris, does a reward have to be physical like a treat, or can it be also with encouragement words? Yes. So for example, it's like something called primary and secondary reinforcers, and it depends what your bird's likes are. So a primary reinforcer for a bird is not most commonly a treat, and if they really bonded to you, it can even be you. A secondary could be you if they're just indifferent to you, or just verbal praise. It all depends on your bird and what they want. It's just what's like a tier system. So yeah, praising them can be really, really important. And we often recommend praising parrots, often in a neutral tone, not too excited, because it does reinforce bonds and it does act as a reinforcer, just not quite as strong as a primary. So you can use that to your advantage in certain things if you don't want the behaviour to be too strong. For example, going to the toilet somewhere. It's very useful. Sing Emporia, if you're not home, is it advisable to leave the radio or TV on for birds, or is it as being silly? There's nothing wrong with leaving the radio on television. Just make sure there's no bird noises constantly agitate them. We often find stuff like background music, classical music, thunderstorm sounds, that sort of thing is useful. Just general background sounds, nothing too exciting or naughty. It's all good. Iris, is it okay to walk away if they're not listening? That depends on the context, again, your environmental situation. So say you've got your bird and they're not really paying attention to training, you can disengage, but then it'd be quite useful to come back and try again within a 5 to 10 second period, just to see if they are just maybe being fussy or they're thinking about what's going on. Generally, you'd want to stop the training session, then just do something else with them, because if they're not engaged, they're not into it, then it's kind of pointless trying to keep going, because they're just going to get more and more disengaged from it, not want to do it even more. Again, we can have examples of all our parrots with that. Say Scampy's getting full, he wants to explore, doesn't want to train me anymore. Okay, I'll stop the training session, or I may ask for one more good rep from him with a jackpot reward and stop. So that's what's important there. Yes, you can use scritches for a reward. Chip, I think, would be a good example. He loves his scritches from me, so I could do. I don't generally use it as a reward, but you could do. It's perfectly justifiable. Gina, yeah, classic rock's good. Peggy, my Pete still won't go in his cage all the time. I think he has figured out when it's time to go in and then keeps flying. Any help? Going back in a cage is a problem that a lot of people face, and it's fixable, and it's not too hard to fix. It just takes a bit of time. So generally, with the going back in a cage, you want to make the cage space fun. I think we talked about this last time you mentioned this. Make it big, make it fun, make it good in there. Make sure that he gets a reward every time he goes in, and then do training in and around the cage. So before bedtime, leave yourself enough time before it's bedtime. So give yourself 10 minutes before you're supposed to go into the cage, and give yourself a lead up to it. Do target training in and around. Target Pete in, target Pete out. Play with him around the cage. Maybe shut the door, open the door, break the connection with going in at night, and that's it. Because often when we put our birds in the cage, it's like, right, we've got them in finally. It's taken ages. Let's go and do something else. Break that connection with them, because they can sense it, and they know it's fun time's over. They may want to stay with us. So keep training around it and break the connection between going in and bad things and not fun by treating, by allowing him in and out, by shutting the door and getting him back out again. Having a peeking perch on the door we find very helpful. We use it as a training perch both in and out of the cage. So inside the cage, they associate with rewards, and outside, highly effective with Scampi. It works really well. It just takes time and effort. So start setting aside some time before bedtime. Start training with Pete as well every day, if you don't already, and then also make it an exercise during the day as well. So just make it really random and make it more interesting. Adara, removing expectations. When I first brought Juno home, made bonding and training with her easier. We went at her pace, and we have a very strong bond now. Yeah, I'm hoping that's going to help with Charlie, like it did with Kipling. Me and Kipling don't get on amazingly, but we get on a lot better because I removed my expectations. That's because Crimson Bellies and me don't seem to mix very well, but I can still work for it. I'll still try. And Ferret Grandma, it's exactly how it should be. Ahmed, my cockatiel is always gets scared when I try to feed him with my hands. So think about how you're approaching with your hands. Is your cockatiel used to your hands? Does your cockatiel associate your hands with good things? Is your cockatiel happy with your hands? You want to build trust with your cockatiel. So there's a few techniques you can use for that. I've got videos sort of covering it, but I'll briefly cover it now. What is one classical technique I do approve of? A lot of them are like cornering them and stuff in the cage. That's all bad. But just leaving your hand static in the cage, just leaving it there, not cornering them, just letting it there, letting them come to you. Maybe having a little bit of millet pinched in between your fingers so they can see it, because then that's giving them a choice to come to you, and it starts to build trust. You can also just have your hand held next to the cage with a high value treat, like just basically a bud of millet. Just hold it next to the cage and just sit there next to the cage, do your own thing on your mobile. Just wait for them to take it. That's also highly effective. Step up training. If they're scared of hands, have them step up into your sleeved hand like that. Have them step onto a perch so they get used to it, then take it back. Just don't rush feeding with hands, because it can take some time. Not all cockatiels will be very keen to do it immediately. Missy Millie, Woody, my cockatiel is teaching Patch my other cockatiels to talk. That's another great thing. Parrots will learn from each other. Being a flock species, being so closely bonded, other flock members, they learn. Just like when you're doing diet conversion, eating next to your parrot can be helpful. They will learn things from each other. Fish learned how to put stuff into a vending machine from Chip. Charlie is learning from Olive that certain things are good places to go to eat. They all learn from each other. It's very interesting how they do it. I think it's really cool. Hey, Tori, welcome. Jimmy, when we turn the tap on, the sound of running water makes my conure really bite. Is that a hormonal thing? Potentially, maybe, but with conures, all conures, I think every conure species is guilty of this. They get very overstimulated and very excited by certain noises. So your conure may really want to wash, and they get really overexcited, so they bite you out of that. They may be hormonal, it's possible. I know our two of our conures are a little bit hormonal right now. It could be just a sound, because they're so reactive to sound. So it's maybe desensing to that, rewarding for calm around that running water, that sort of thing would be helpful. Yeah, Peggy, it does take time, just keep trying and make it consistent as well. Don't just do it a little bit here, a little bit there. Make it a daily practice. So you set yourself maybe a training journal, and it can just be a piece of paper, with every day of the week. So you say Monday, I'm going to do target training with Pete. Tuesday, we're going to target in and out of the cage. Wednesday, I'm just going to give him a reinforcement on the peeking perch. Thursday, I'm going to allow even more time for bedtime and get him in at the cage and then get him out of the cage again, and try and see if I can do it a couple of times. And then Thursday, maybe I'm going to put him in a cage and I'm just going to sit next to him for a couple of minutes before bedtime. So he knows that when he goes in the cage, I just don't disappear. I'm still there. I'm still, giving him rewards and stuff. Or even better, you can walk out of the room and just straight back in again. That also works too. Adara, I've seen an influx of people bringing crimsons home on my Instagram, and I thought to myself, good luck. Yes, so do I. I say good luck with them because, oh my goodness, crimson belly conures, they're so adorable and they're so pretty, they're so intelligent, so charismatic, but my God, are they work. I've dealt with conures for so long and I've never had so many problems with just this one species. And given a lot of other people's experiences, they have similar. Even if their crimson belly is very bonded to them and they're very happy with them, they still have trouble with random biting and overexcited behaviour. I think the most common circumstance where you don't have that is when they're with like a breeder or someone for the whole entirety of their lifespan, because they're so bonded with them, even though they nip them and stuff like they always do, that behaviour is more levelled out. That is the only circumstance I've seen where they don't exercise random biting, all sorts of horrible things. And, if you've got a crimson belly and you're happy to accept that, great, you can accept it. But new owners, I hope they can cope with it because I don't want to see more crimson bellies in rescues. It's just not good. Bonnie, I keep my hands visible. They're not the enemy and they get used to them. And face it, you will get bitten. It's not personal. Just cry. Yes, you can just take yourself in another room and cry. Preferably not immediately when you get bitten. I don't know if I should admit this on this, but I have cried once when I've been bitten. It was that bad. It brought a tear to my eye. It was pretty bad. I tried to do it elsewhere. But yeah, don't feel ashamed of it. Most of the time, I just internally scream and just try to be quiet. It's very difficult. RM, my conures receptive to training. Yeah, they can be exceptionally receptive to training. Conures in general are smart and love their training. Carrie, are cockatiels like golden retrievers of birds? I suppose some of them are like that colour. I don't know. It's a weird comparison to make because I've seen some really aggressive cockatiels. I find them easier to train from aggression to calm. Chip's just I might get him out in a second actually if he's winning in the mood. But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, would other people agree with that statement? Our two are very soft, even though Chip loves to sort of nibble me and tell me off. Same with Fish, but it's always so gentle. It's a difficult one to answer. Ferret grandma, bit in the face. Oh no. Yeah, it's always someone else's fault. If Sophie does something to Charlie or Kipling, it's sometimes my fault. Although Kipling was the one who got Sophie today and it wasn't me. But if Sophie winds Charlie up, I'm normally the one to hear about it because, yeah, although, it's a crimson belly thing, Chip and Fish are always excited. They're very naughty little beasts. They've been a lot more sort of vocal today and a lot more fun and happy. You do wind him up I wind him up. I can only wind him up when he's in the cage. There's no safe space for me. Right, so let's get Chip and Fish out. And then I'll talk about training basics because I think it's important to just reinforce, and we'll talk about questions. Then we'll go on to the Q&A section, although we sort of had a little mini Q&A question now. I'm going to be talking about that as well, RM. You're a bit quick, but great. We'll be talking about that as well in a second. Come on in, monsters. Coming out. Careful. Careful. Do you want to go on the stand for a second? Or do you want to say hello first, then we'll go on the stand? You barking, everyone? You big boy. Do you want to stand now? Are you hungry? You do. I can't help myself with you. Right, I'll hopefully have them in view for you guys. And they'll probably be being naughty as well. Yeah, they'll be out for a little while. I'm hoping they can relax. We've got some work later, so it's kind of feels a double thing. It'd be nice to have them in here and having lots of fun for a while. So we have a little bit more time later in the evening. Right, so let's talk about training basics before we maybe muck around and we'll do some more questions. So I was talking about going back to basics, but what are those basics? When it comes to bonding or training with any animal, there's like a foundation, and a lot of people don't want to keep on fulfilling that foundation. They want to jump to different levels on the tower. I call it a training tower. I did a Patreon video on that as well, which I found very interesting to talk about. And if you have a big tower or any building, you need a strong foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation, that tower is going to fall over very quickly. If you don't have a strong first floor, the top floor is going to go. So when you're training parrots or any animal, I feel it's like building up. And it's the same, I think, with human children as well, from my experience of teaching. So on your foundation level, you've got your bonding work, your descent work, and you've got your target training. I think that's a foundational skill, and it's just essential. Then you have your next tier up, which is maybe you're stepping up, your advanced target training. Then the next level is maybe recall, stationing. Then right at the top, you may have free flight or advanced trick training, like with Chip. Not free flight, but just advanced trick training. And, maintaining that foundation is so important and building up your tower higher and higher. And you have to keep maintaining that foundation. So if nothing's working on floor 2, 1, 2, 3, go back to the foundation, keep working on that. Then move up again, try it again. And then you can take your steps up, and eventually you will climb to the top of that tower. It's not a motivational thing, it's a scientific thing. You will eventually climb up to that tower and get to the top. It just takes time and repeated effort. And some birds will build their towers quickly. Other birds will take more time. Some birds, the tower will collapse and you have to start rebuilding it again, and you have to keep working on it. And I find the analogy works for every single parrot. And it's one I keep coming back to because it is so helpful. Just if you're having trouble with your training, take it a step back. And then if it's still having trouble, take it a step back, right back to that foundational basics. And then if you're stuck there, keep working on there. Because at least you can feel like you're achieving something. Even if it's just sitting next to their cage and they calm down for a few moments, if they're agitated around you and you treat them, that's a win. Take the wins where you can. If they target once successfully, that's a win. If you just brought a bird home and it's not bonding to you and it's been ages, and they come up to your hand when you're just holding it, like I talked about earlier, take a treat. That's a win. Take your wins where you can and work from them and keep trying what's successful. That's, again, goes back to the training journal. You can almost have a little tick system or a smiley face system just to reinforce what's happening. And over time, hopefully you'll see more and more smiley faces in there. I maybe wouldn't bother with frowny faces because there's no point recording that. It's just going to make you sad. But every time, and you can say, look, I've achieved that. I've done this and I've done this, and it will start pinpointing where you can be successful and where you can take things further and do well. Sophie just made a very good point. If you really need help and you're struggling, you can reach out to our business, Best Behaved Birds, or you can sign up to Patreon where, or Discord. We've got Discord linked to our memberships and stuff where you can reach us and we can answer questions. But with our business, we are here to help, and, we don't patronize. We basically treat you like a person, give you a full written up action plan so you can work from, so you're not left alone. We support you afterwards. So again, you'll find links to our business on my channel banner and in most video descriptions. Just have a click and look. It's not like you have to sign up. Adrian, can I show us the green cheek conure? The green cheek conure. We have several. Yes, I will be getting Pickles and Scampi out a little bit later. They'll be coming out, and I might try. I'll do some live training with them because I think it'll fit into the live stream a lot better. And we can work with them later. You can see them doing some maybe recall or just targeting, whatever. Because I do a lot of training with these two because it's easy for me on camera. And they're just normally so good. It's fish preening. Good boy. So that takes me to the end of the basically the topic of the day. So I've got a couple of questions people have asked, which I'll go into in a minute. But I'm going to catch up with the chat and maybe bring up the boys so you can say hello to them. What have we got here then? Klaus, yeah, our cockatiels are very, very well behaved. We're quite lucky to have them. They're just so nice, they're so soft. They nibble me occasionally, tell me off, but yeah, I've never actually been bitten that hard. The most is Chibi if Chip catches my nostril because he's really cross at something, and that maybe stings a little bit. So they're really nice. A bit noisy sometimes, but very nice. Iris, I have seen some birds in videos that will scream to get their owners back in the room. Is that a form of them training humans? How can we fix the situation? If so, yes, that's a common form of training, screaming for attention, because if we give into it, we come back, they know, and they'll scream more. It's training us. They'll constantly scream. So the way to fix that is generally two ways. Only coming into the room when they're calm, or rewarding them when they're calm, or playing a little game in the door, waiting for that moment to calm, coming in and not reinforcing when they are noisy. It can be difficult to play, but it's well worth doing. Those are the two most common ways. Yeah, fishes barking is funny. I do love them. The dark tops is crumbly. The best way to do it is just try them out in a cage and see how much he's eating. Yeah, generally, if they're trying it and they're crumbling, that's great. Oh, Laura, Skittles. I'll bring them up to after I've caught up with this. I'll bring them up and you can say hello to them. Adora, yeah, I sometimes have to put headphones on. We haven't had to do it in the console yet. Alice Y, the first naughtiness. Thank you very much. Yes, more goodies for the flock. Sophie's done a lot of orders recently and bought lots of goodies. And I obviously naturally end up contributing to them as well. Even if I don't end up doing the orders, I like to do orders sometimes randomly, just to get random toys to try them out, and then I can like just do unboxings. But thank you very much, Alice. Very, very naughty. Adara, Laura, the kids are very noisy too. They're very noisy, just like just like parrots. Ajun, I have a green chicken. I don't know what to teach him. He knows how to come to me and that easy stuff. When you say easy stuff, does he know targeting, spinning, that sort of thing? So I can just show some of that stuff. It may help you a little bit. What does he know? I don't know if there's going to be a naughty train. I mean, naughty train's always nice, but we never expect it. I said this on a little call thing I did, like a survey thing that we never expect it. We're always grateful for it. And Gina just immediately on tap joined the naughty train. Very naughty, Gina. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated as always. RM, will we ever do? We do actually have a merch store. It's not very well known. We don't promote it very much. We're trying to. Or Sophie, am I allowed to tell people? So I still need to get these guys out. I'm just going to catch up with the chat and I'll tell them. So with the merch store, we have a merch store. It's on Redbubble. There's a link in descriptions and I think on my channel bar. We have some merch. We have some custom art design for us, but we're actually getting it redone. We're getting some fresh art done, some new things. We've got some quite cute stuff on there. So feel free to have a look. There's some nice stuff on there. Helen, is trick training the start of anthropomorphism? I struggle to define the boundaries as anthropomorphism is giving human tributes to animals. So is trick training anthropomorphism? It's a good question. It may warrant its own topic either on Patreon as a dedicated video or on here. I would say no. I know my bird does not associate putting little burgers into a receptacle as little burgers into a receptacle for Chip. That is, I'm doing something that I find interesting and putting it into a receptacle for a reward. So he doesn't see it the same way. I could potentially see it that way, but he doesn't. So it's more about controlling our expectations and our views rather than theirs. I wouldn't say that training is anthropomorphism, and I don't think trick training is. I like trick training because it stimulates their minds. It's interesting for them. They actively enjoy it. Cockatiels and conures love it. And also it kind of illustrates to people how intelligent they are. And I don't really trick train. Well, I find it cute as well. I suppose there is a little bit of self-gratification there. But I tend to trick train to show how clever they are. And that's why you see all those on my Instagram and stuff rather than educational stuff, because I don't really see as much traction there and people see it. So it's very useful. Right, so let's get these boys up to the camera. Can you come in? Do you want to come? Good boy. You come in, boy, Chip. Such good boys. Laura, right on time for the naughty train. Chip and Fish say thank you very much. Naughty, naughty. Thank you very much. Do you want to pet your pets? Do you want to go on my shoulder? Do you want a treat? Oh, Fish, you're getting jealous. Oh my goodness, it is a train. Adara, the naughty train. You've joined the naughty train, Adara. Thank you, Laura and Adara. Much appreciated. Never expected, but we do appreciate it. It was a train. Have you guys been planning this or something? Literally just do this train of stuff so you just keep on making me feel awkward. Naughty train. Ooh, ooh. Very good. Agent, he only knows how to come to me when I call him. He knows how to go back in his cage. When I want to teach him to spin and roll over. Okay, we'll show some targeting because that's where spinning starts. Target training is the quickest way to teach a spin to a bird. It's the easiest way as well. Being good, aren't you? Be nice and quiet. Let's see if Chip wants some petty pets on camera. He's been a bit hesitant. Oh, he thinks I want him to wave. Oh my god, let me see if I can get him up here and do it. You're so silly. You wait for me? Oh, very good. You're such a smart little boy, honestly. Thank you. No, don't tell me off. You can shake? You can shake? Oh, what a good boy. I hope you can see this, guys. He doesn't normally do this right in front of the camera. Sophie has a tutorial, by the way, on Adrian. If you want to try and train this behaviour, Sophie has a good tutorial on it. Good boy. And it's a really cute one. You are so cute. You need to treat as well, I know. Fish doesn't know how to do it yet. Thank you, Laura. I mean, sometimes I can't resist with things. I'm not less and more. I'm not sure what that means. I hope that's a good thing. Bonnie, yeah, I like to chat to my birds. I'm constantly chatting to my birds all the time. Oh yeah, he's such a big boy. He's such a boss man. This boy, he's always barking. Oh, Cheebs. He just thinks I've got more treats for him. I just can't resist. He's training me. You see, this is a good example of training me. I'll bring Fish up. Then I'll do the questions because I've got to be finishing on the hour today. So I've got 20 odd minutes left. Parrots on Wheels. Did you see Fish gave his bonk of approval to that? Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. You've been very naughty. You've joined the train of naughtiness. What do you want? You can sing. Oh, hello. We're getting singing as well now. This is how much Fish appreciates you, Parrots on Wheels. Oh, Chibi. I was hoping he'd show you how demanding he is for pets right now, but he's obviously not in the mood. He's obviously hungry. Fish is the supervisor. It would be cute, wouldn't it, Dara? I'd love to see our cockatiels with other cockatiels. We don't have any plans to get any more until we have like a big space, but these two are like a handful enough anyway. So just before, what I'll do is I'll cover the questions, then we'll pop these guys out and back in, and get the conias out for a bit of training, and then we'll just do the Q&A section. I'll try to leave at least 10 minutes for that at the end of it. I don't want to overrun. I have to behave myself because I've got to do work straight after this. So the first question I got, and I've got it quite a lot, so I thought it'd be good to cover in this, is how's Charlie? So generally, Charlie's getting on very well here. He's quite happy. For those of you who aren't on Patreon and stuff, I may as well tell you, I did spoiler it the other day on Instagram and in a community post. Charlie and Olive are getting on very well. They're bonding very nicely. They're very happy. They're just generally getting on very well. There's little squabbles, but they're nowhere near the same squabbles that Pickles and Scampi had. So it's very cute to see. And him being a Crimson Belly, it makes it even more rewarding to see. They're getting on very well. They're quite happy. They even share food from bowls, and it's going well. We're not sure when they're going to be in the same cage. We're going to take that nice and slow to make sure they're both happy, but we are trialing that sort of thing, and it's going very well. All great. He also gets on very well with Sophie. He occasionally nips her, but that's it. Sadly, with me, Charlie's not a big fan of me. When he first came in that sort of initial period, what she wants to show Charlie. There you go. We'll show Charlie what I'm talking about. In that initial period, Charlie got on very well with me, but that sort of deteriorated a bit. There's loads of theories. We think it's partly due to hormones, because obviously the bonding process is making that, so it's more hormonal. It's because I looked a bit like his old vet, and obviously his old vet probably grabbed him a bit. It could be the clothes I wear. There's lots of things, and it's quite sad for me. It's also my voice potentially. So Charlie isn't the best when he's out and about with me, and that's what we're having to work with. But you know, I dealt with I dealt with Kipling. And I'm trying to use the same techniques I did with that, which is when he's out, just basically being static, being very calm, and letting Sophie do most of the work and rewarding him for calm where I can. So the good bits with Charlie, because there are some good bits. This is why this is relevant for this topic today. Is I took it back to basics. Where am I successful with Charlie? There's two places I can work with Charlie that work really well. Number one is targeting, especially in the cage. It's very easy. He calms down. He gets focused on targeting. So that's how I'm working on increasing my bond through active training. And secondly, if he gets wheeled over, he's actually big grinding now. If he's wheeled over to here in the room and he's next to me when I'm painting or doing some work, he's really calm. So I can actually, reinforce him. I can sort of like bond with him, do work. And that really works really well. So I'm glad we've at least found some way to start. Because if I didn't have a starting point, I'd probably be a bit disheartened. And we could be on a starting point for ages. It could work for ages, but, it's somewhere to go. The other thing I wanted to mention is it's his hatch day as well. So happy hatch day to Mr. Charlie. I've been giving him extra treats, even though he probably preferred them from Sophie or Olive, but I have been rewarding him. So don't worry, Iris. I am being nice to your little man and making sure I can give him treats where I can. So he's had extra treats for me and in his bowl as well today. So yeah, that's basically a Charlie report. It's generally quite well. And that leads on to the last sort of topic question, was extreme biting, how to deal with it. First, take it back to basics. Use protected contact. Use that cage to your advantage. They may feel safer there. You feel safer when they're not out. Protect yourself. And I'm going to do a video on it, on extreme biting and how to deal with it, because a lot of people have to deal with it. We have to cover it in our consults an awful lot. I personally know how difficult it is now, having dealt with it twice with two Crimson Bellies. And Joe, thank you for joining Naughty Club. I'm sorry I missed it. I was on a Charlie talk. Thank you for joining Naughty Club. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. But yeah, extreme biting, there will be a video on it coming up. There'll be more Crimson Belly content as well. The more I learn and the more I talk to other owners, because I feel it's important to share and give people the best, prepare them basically for it. So that very rapidly ends the Charlie report and how things are going on. Do I not listen? What? He says he wants a treat now. Okay, I'll give him a treat now. I'm too busy talking. Do you want a treat now? You just settled up there. Do you want a treat, Char? You're probably going to be excited for this, aren't you? Right, can we wait for a bit of calm? Good boy. Oh, well, that was lucky. He was a bit calm there. Carrie, that's the naughtiest I've seen, actually, I think, in a live stream. As a former non-bird person, I've learned so much from you and Sophie. Twig says thank you both so much. Thank you, Kerry, so much. You've been, since you joined to be a patron, you've been very supportive and very kind to us. So we very much appreciate it. Thank you. And again, if you want to talk to us, remember that door's open for all you patrons. Utilize our services. You know, me and Sophie feel guilty when you guys pay us stuff and we don't do what we say we're doing. It's available to you. So if you ever need those consults on top tier, talk to us, just DM us or whatever. We're happy to help you, all of you. We value you all, because you are bigger supporters. Where was I? Oh my goodness, Singamporia 6. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, who? It's Kayza. Thank you very much. Sophie just saying it's Kayza. Thank you very much, guys. It's definitely a train today. It's a very unexpected train. Thank you very much, everyone. Oh my God. Klaus, thank you very much. It's very, very naughty. Is it because I haven't done a live stream in ages? Is this why this is happening? Klaus, naughty with a little thingy mark. Let's get the conyers out. Let's come on, babies. Good boys. You've been so well behaved today. You ready? Are you two monsters ready? Are you two monsters ready? Right, Pickles, you go there. I'm going to try and do a little bit of training because I know someone wants to see it. Are you nervous? No, you're not nervous today. You can go on there for me? Do you want to stay on my hand? Because I know you get a bit funny around this sometimes. Right, I need to try and pinch some treats in my fingers. Sorry about that lovely view there. Pinch some treats in my fingers so I can actually show this. Oh, Scampy. Oh, okay. Do you want to go on there? Are you nervous? What are you nervous about? Oh, little man. Let's see if Pickles will do it. So this is the best thing to do, target training. I've got videos on it if you can't quite see because Scampy's being so scary. So Pickles, you come from above to the front, give her a treat. After she does it, that's targeting. You basically want them to touch the end of the stick to earn a reward. And from that, you can do this. Pickles spin. Good girl. It starts there, that is the best basics of targeting. And if you're teaching your bird, once they know how to target, you basically teach it by doing a halfway. People can show it. What are you so scared about? It's not out the window again. Spin. You go halfway. They touch, and then you take it the rest of the way. Let's get a couple more treats. Do you want a treat as well, Scamp? Because you're being. Oh, okay. Good boy. So I'll just show that one more time. So targeting is literally just this. So you present the stick, say touch. Are you trying to wave at me, you silly bird? Give them a reward, and that's it. Then with spinning, take it halfway, take it the rest of the way, and then pair it with a cue. Not very well explained because it's a bit chaotic here in a second, but that's the basics of it. I've got video tutorials which will help you a lot more. Come here, little girl. She's a smart little cookie, this one. What do you want? Where do you want to go? What do you want? Where are we? Adara, you've missed me. I know I've not been quite as active on Discord. I try to pop in there where I can. Obviously, these live streams and everything will continue. And remember, you can message me, DM me if you're Patreon or Discord, and I'll always respond to those. So if I miss stuff, feel free to do so. You guys are very generous. Thank you. Scampy's a skinny boy. Hi, look. I'm not sure what are you so alerted about? What are you so scared about? I honestly don't know what's bothering him. I don't know if it's... Oh, actually, I do. I think I do know. I think it's because I'm using an orange box as the laptop sort of prop. Okay. I'll see if I can get a wave again. You can wave? Good girl. You can shake my finger as well. Right, we have 10 seconds, 10 minutes for questions as well. So that's going reasonably well to schedule. You ready? Was that a big treat? You shake? Well, you can't see it because I'm not doing it right. You're so cute. Honestly, right. So let's see if I can catch up with any questions I've missed. And it's now question time. Anyone who has any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I am more than happy to answer any questions now. Otherwise, I'll be playing with these two little monsters. Do you want to cuddle? You do. Okay. Adrian, how do I stop my green cheek from biting? I have a lot of videos on green cheeks biting. So search bite or biting on my channel, and you'll probably find videos on it. So let's talk about biting. I actually did a quiz on my community recently. Biting. Pickles, you getting chatty. The first thing you do when your conure bites you, don't react. Don't make a big stink out of it. Don't make a big scene. Don't react. Set them down somewhere neutral. Wait 5 seconds and then try and give them a chance to earn something like a reinforcement. What do you want? For example, a target's a great way of doing it. You can also redirect them. So if your conure is about to bite you and you know it's coming, redirect them with a target. It's getting chaotic in it. Like you see it, the energy's going up. Redirect them with a target, or you can basically try and just see what the signs of them biting are. Try and figure out what environmental factors are agitating them and fix them there. Again, the videos cover biting in depth. What do you want? And there's lots of topics, but redirection, not reacting, using neutral location, breaking the link between biting and reaction are going to be your best bets, because they do love nibbling, they do love. What do you want? Oh, okay. So you want the bowls, I think. What do you want? Do you want a snack from the ramekin? Is that right? I'm going to hide it now. You're not having it after this. You get one treat from it. So you want the Pickles wants the bowls, and Scampy's probably going to stay with me. And I bet he's going to nibble me for that ramekin in a second. Fred Grandma, pretty bird, and come on, that's really cute. Charlie's a big talker. He doesn't say it's odd. This is another odd thing with Charlie. I don't know if it's because I've been sitting with him in my afternoons when I have like a spare hour to paint or whatever or work, and he will often say Charlie's a good boy to me. Doesn't say it too much to Sophie, but he constantly repeats it to me because I think he knows he gets treats for it. It's very cute. Adara, have either of the girls laid eggs before? Thankfully, no. I think our hormone management techniques are proven with that, thankfully. Hopefully, it will never happen. If it does, we'll try our best to manage it. Where do you want to go? But yeah, they've never actually laid eggs. Laura, what do you do when you're trying to soft target and they bite too hard? So generally with soft targeting, you don't want to give them the opportunity to bite hard. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go down there? Okay, good boy. Oh, what a mission. What a cheeky little man. I'm going to let him do it. So I need to answer this question. You are such a little terrorist. To hide these from you. Just so smart. So you don't want to give them the opportunity to actually get the target stick. So when you're soft targeting, unlike with targeting, just coming in, go from an extreme distance and above and make sure you really make them reach that stick. You really want them to reach that stick. You do not want them to get the opportunity to bite hard. And if you have to take it back to in the cage to start with, just do that. Because conures have a way of tricking us. We saw it on an in-home consult recently where the conure is almost tricking you to bringing it closer and closer. You want them to reach for it and to be motivated to get it. So that's the easiest solution. Don't reinforce when they bite too hard. Just make sure you're coming in from as far a distance as physically possible. What do you want? Honestly, I didn't think it would be these two to be chaotic. Yeah, Gina, hormone management is really important. It's one of the most important things, and hormones are probably one of the biggest sources, apart from stress and not putting enough time in, of parrots biting and getting very stressed in general. You have to be very. What are you? Honestly, you are such a monster. He's making me full screen on my other computer. You menace. Right. Anyway. Right, guys. So I've still got some time left. So if you have any more questions, or you just want to chat, or you want to see anything from these guys while they're out, please feel free to let me know. How do I teach the wave? So Adrian, if you go on Bird Nerd Sophie's channel, she has a tutorial on waving. It's very effective, and it's basically she's already done it. So why would I try and do it? Go and check out Bird Nerd Sophie's video on that. It's very good. Hello, big man. Oh, you want to drink it? You're not having drink it. It's not good for conures. You have a treat. Good boy. Gina, yeah, but you know, it's a difficult situation. You know, every situation is unique for conures, and you know, it's just difficult. That's all I can say, really. He does. He wants basically. They always want what I have, so I've tried to put it somewhere where they can't get it. Because I normally have like a juice they can have, but today I wanted something different, so I just don't want them getting near it. Basically. Scampy. Good boy. He doesn't really say his name, but he responds to Scampy. So, Adara, I have a diet question. Is fruit essential to a well-rounded diet? I depend on the animal, really. So, for a cockatiel, I'd say you can probably just skip fruit and just focus on your veggies and your sprouts and stuff. For a conure, I think fruit's great. They enjoy it. It's enriching for them. Fruits have health benefits, especially if you're using berries and the like. So, if you can put fruit and provide it in moderation, fruit's fine. Just don't go too crazy with it. The other thing with fruit as well is portion sizing. Now, there's a couple of analogies I love with this. Don't you dare chase him off. Don't you dare be mean to him. I keep going back to this example. We had a consult with someone who loved their conure. They were doing a lot of things right, but the conure was constantly like overexcited. No, you don't go up there. Okay. They'd feed him whole grapes. Like, imagine a grape next to Pickles' head. that grape is the size of Pickles' you nibbling me. It's the size of Pickles' head. So that portion is too big. You know, it's just too big. So you want to reduce that portion size and make like a quarter of a grape, an eighth of a grape. That would be appropriate. So fruit is great if fed in moderation and proportionally. And depending on what parrot you have, you know, for example, Laura Keats, they can have a bit more fruit, etc. So just basically tailor to what they need. He always wants what I have. Oh, awesome, Ferret Grandma. So we had some success. It's always nice to hear when our videos and our consults and stuff actually are successful, because, you know, when we hear it, it gives us a bit of validation. We're like, yes, we're doing it right if you're having a bad day. What is the name, Arjun? Literally, she just commented just beneath. So if you click on that, I think it might take you to it. Gina, that's cute. Like sort of like Konya chatting at night time. Our Konyas like to chat and generally make a bit of a noise when they're getting sleepy as well. Adara, my flock doesn't want any fruit. But guys suggest I grind up freeze-dried fruit. You can try that. I mean, if because your flock's basically budgies and cockatiels, so I wouldn't say it's that essential due to their natural history. Feel free to add it in there, you know, because it's got a lot of benefits. But you know, don't worry too much about it. Helen, do you manage to get cuddles with Olive now Charlie's on the sea? That's a sad thing for me. So Olive has to be out separately if I want to cuddle her, and sometimes it makes me sad when she's out and she wants to come to me and cuddle. And Charlie's obviously very agitated. So I'm having to take one for the team, so to speak, in that respect, and basically put their bond ahead of my bond with her. And I do find it sad. And, you know, I find it difficult sometimes, but that's basically the choice I've had to make. And sometimes I get her out on her own so I can cuddle her. And I'm hopeful in the future, maybe, you know, Charlie will be okay with me as well for putting enough work in. And, you know, like with Kipling, and it'll be okay to just basically, you know, have the fun with them. Yeah, it's difficult. That's basically it. Right? How old are my Conyas? Mostly about 4. That's the average age. They vary a little bit. Freeze-dried fruit does taste good. Yeah, we can eat them as well, Gina. I try my best. No one's perfect, you know. Obviously, as I said, it makes me sad, but you know, I try my best, and I am going to keep trying with Charlie. I've taken a slight step back with outside of cage training, but I'm going to keep trying wheeling him over to me. I'm going to keep trying to target him through the bars and, you know, seeing if the technique I use with Kipling works with him. Hopefully it will do. Hello, big man. Can you come and say hello? You can wait for everyone. You good boy. Do you want to treat anything? You don't want that. It's rubbish. It's a rubbish treat. How are me and Sophie doing, taking care of ourselves? Generally, we try to, you know, there's a lot of stress factors in our lives, just like with everyone. So we do the best we can. You know, we're okay. We're trying to manage work. We want more time and more space. Could we see Lord Charlie's Olive? The problem is Charlie, well, I can try. Give me a second. Because basically Lord Charlie's Olive, I don't know if you can see, is like Charlie's cage is obscuring Olive's cage, and I don't want to pick up the laptop. So you can see Olive's, oh, I'm pointing it, it's making there. She's basically feeding while Charlie's getting very excited that Scampy's next to me. What I can try and do in next time is set it up so I can, depending on how we got on, maybe would have made leaps and bounds by then, so you can all see that way. But yeah, he picked up a bit of old millet, which I gave to the boys, and he wasn't so keen on it. Kiss. The shake. Good boy. You don't want that either. You see, Pickles sees I'm treating him, so she's like, "What's going on there? What's going on there?" Adrian, what toys do I recommend? Natural toys. Easily shreddable toys, natural toys, palm leaf, balsa, cardboard, paper, all very good. Got lots of videos covering that as well. Joe, how do I feel about coronation? So how do I say this briefly and not divisively? I'm not a fan. That's basically where I'm going to leave it there, because I've got a lot to say about it, but that's where I will stop that. I'm not a fan. Yeah, you know, I appreciate people may enjoy it. It's not for me. Right, so if anyone has any last minute questions, please feel free to shoot them. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up in a minute or two and start saying thank you to everyone again. You know, it's been a pleasure as always. I always enjoy these live streams. I hope you guys do. She does. Does she have to? Shall I make her earn it though? Where you? Oh, she's like on board now. What's this? What's this? Can you step up for me? You can have a treat for that because you don't get rewarded to step up much. Yeah. Wings. Good girl. Thank you, Lessa. I enjoy it as well. Thank you, Alice, as well. Yeah, I mean, I just enjoy doing them. It's like live teaching almost. Thank you very much, Gina. She is such a sweet conure, this one. Against other conures, not so much, but with humans, she is absolutely adorable. It is nice. It's just chatting and sharing stuff with people. Righty. So I think it's time for me to wrap it up. So, guys, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much, everyone who gave little thank yous and super chats. It is really appreciated. All of you. Thank you so much. And just for being here, everyone. Me and Sophie truly appreciate it. I'm going to wheel Charlie back and give him a treat in a minute because, again, special treat. And we're going to get on with stuff. But from us, take care, everyone, and have a really nice one. You're going to wave goodbye to everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Take care, guys.